What's up, Titans fans, and welcome to another episode of Titans Global Podcast. I'm your host, Maximus Titan Fan, and with me, as always, is my good buddy Link. What's up, dude?
What's going on, guys? Good to be back. Hope everybody's had a chance to kind of reset after last week and get ready for this pregame. Another big game coming up. Titans 0-2 start, so a lot to get into. But as always, make sure to like, subscribe, comment. Most importantly, we want you to comment, get in the chat, talk with us, tell us your thoughts. I know people still have a lot to air out, so get in there and we'll get right to it.
Yeah, man. I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of stats that we could talk about and stuff like that, and we will talk a little bit about them. But we're also going to talk about some of the headlines that's been going around and some other things. So, as always, we are sponsored by Red Zone Builders for all your excavation needs. Red Zone Builders, excavate experts. Dang it, I said it wrong. It's all right. It's all right. What's up? What's up, Tweezy? So, Titans versus Green Bay. Really wanted to be going to this game, but I'll probably be watching it from the couch. Sorry, father-in-law. It comes on 1 noon Central, Fox. And the Titans are actually favored for the first time this season, so that's interesting. Don't know how that's going to work out really, but hey, let's go for it. So in other news, Will Levis's phone was leaked. His phone number, excuse me, was leaked out. And as you can imagine, people weren't very nice. Nobody was just texting him saying, "Hey, man, I hope you're having a good day. Tighten up." No, man. He hadn't said anything. I don't think any of it's out there yet.
Nah,
I've been
nothing I'm
looking
aware
for
of.
it because I've been interested, but I don't know. But anyway, I just wanted to say, man, let's just keep in mind that even though he's a superstar that makes lots of money to play a sports game, he's still a person. Everybody's a human being. Everybody's got brothers and moms and dads and sisters, and some people got kids. So, I mean, just be respectful as a human being to another human being.
Yeah, and for a fan base that seems like they want him to get out of his own head and play better and thinks that he makes a lot of mental mistakes, that doesn't seem like the best way to try to curb the mental mistakes by doing that, on a game. But hey, whatever. I mean, a little bit of a contradiction. It's unfortunate. I mean, this is a guy, he's still a human. I know everybody kind of views athletes as kind of a different breed. And I mean, they make a lot of money to play a sport. We see their faces on TV, but you don't get to see these people in person. And, it's easy to hide behind a phone. It's easy to call somebody out over text message, but it's just not the way that we as a fan base want to do things, in my opinion. So a little bit of shame to those out there who took advantage of that. You don't have my support, but it happens. There's always those people. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, really, it boils down to it's one thing to post this stuff on social media, and say what you want to say or whatever, because they read some of that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
They do. So it's one thing to do that, but it's a whole different ball game to text his personal phone or call and leave a message on his phone. That's just messed up, man. Come on, be better fans than that. Be better people.
Yeah, and it hurts his preparation too, because he also said in the same meeting, just before that, he's done his best to stay off social media, kind of taking a break from it, trying to stay away right now from the whole. I think Paul Kaharski asked him, as far as like sports psychologist, he thinks it's something that he can fix, but it's just another wrinkle that people are throwing into it, and I don't understand it. Like I said, for a fan base that wants to see this guy, stop making mistakes, I mean, you're doing more to harm the situation, but. Like I said, it is what it is. So we got more stuff to talk about. We got more important things. I know he does too. So, shame on those people and just stop.
That's really it, man. I mean, just quit it. Damn it. Yep. Damn it. All right. On to other things. We are surprisingly closely matched with Green Bay. all of our categories line up except for, they're a little bit better. And when I say a little bit, I mean a lot in the passing offense game. But yeah, because our quarterback's been just, passing it to the wrong team lately. So makes sense that might not be the best number. So, but other than that, I mean, we are severely close, like 36 first downs, 38 first downs, 18 first downs by penalty. Yeah, screw all that. 274 net yards is what we have. 373 net passing yards is what they have. So it's a little bit better on that. But their run game's phenomenal. They have the number one. We were talking about that pregame. Got the number one rushing or offense. Excuse me. But we have the number 10 rushing defense, and we got number one passing defense. Excuse me. And so I think we'll match up well. But it's going to be a tight game, I think, and not a huge scoring game. So we'll
Yeah.
look on it
Yeah,
later.
and that's the first thing that kind of jumps out to me is the number one rushing defense with Green Bay, and then the number one total defense of the Titans. Obviously, they're going to be run heavy. Malik Willis, he's the big story going into this one, whether he's going to be out there or Jordan Love's going to be out there. Personally, I think we're more than likely going to see Malik Willis. We can kind of get into that later, but if that's the case, it's again going to be a very very run heavy week for them. The front's gonna have to hold up. I don't have too many concerns about that, but I think it's going to be an interesting matchup. Like you said, it's going to be a low scoring game. This is going to be a defensive battle. I don't see this being a blowout on either side. I think it's going to come down to the last two or three possessions, and that speaks volumes again to Will Levis. If he's able to come back in this one, not make the same mistakes we've seen the last 2 weeks, I think that's going to play a pivotal role. I don't know that he's going to have a lot of passing yards or passing attempts, but I do think that the ball's going to be put in his hands in some pivotal situations, and he's going to have to find a way to make plays and limit the mistakes.
Yeah, that is really well said. That is pretty much it. Um, so enough stats. I don't really want to talk about stats all that much, except dang it, I did forget this one thing that I wanted to talk about. When it comes to our matchup, there was one. Come on, man. I've got too many notes here. Hang on, let me throw some stuff around. There we go. Last week, the Packers ran 53 times for 261 yards. Josh Jacobs alone was 32 times for 151 yards. Only had 14 passing attempts for Malik.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't think it's going to look that way this week. I think they're going to be a little bit. I think he's going to get more than 14 passing attempts. But I still expect the hardcore running. So I feel like that's going to be a big aspect of this game is can we stop the run and can they run effectively against us? Can we keep Malik Willis? Because I think that's who's going to play. So can we keep him contained, make him make mistakes that we know he's going to make if he gets into a bad situation, kind of like other quarterbacks we know. But what do you think, man?
Yeah, no, I agree. Even though his passing numbers were a little bit low, he was pretty efficient on the passes they gave him. It was simple routes, it was simple stuff, and that's why I think it's going to be interesting to see how they go into this one because they've had a week to prepare for this, knowing what I believe is going to be Willis. So they've been able to institute some stuff in practice that they think he's good at. So yeah, I think it will be run heavy, like you said. But same way with Levis, there's going to be some opportunities he'll have to kind of change the course of this game. You've got to watch him in space. I mean, we know that from his time here in Tennessee. Even in those passing situations, you've got to have a spy on him. You got to have somebody watching him because he has the ability to get downfield, and that's a game changer, absolute game changer. So, LaFleur, he's one of the best offensive minds. They're going to come in with a game plan. They're going to come out with some scripted plays early. The biggest thing for me in this one's going to be pass rush for the Titans. On those passing situations, when they're not running the football, you got to be able to get in his face, make him uncomfortable, because that's when he's shown a few of his weaknesses. So I think Tennessee will have some chances to generate a turnover or two in this one, which is going to be super important. But the pass rush absolutely has to be there. Right now, it hasn't looked too great. 4 sacks up to this point. I think they were 26th in quarterback pressure on drop back. So,
Seems right.
yeah. So, I mean, you're kind of middle of the pack right now. But got to find a way to get home. Got to find a way to get in the backfield. Make him uncomfortable. That's going to be the biggest key to this one, in my opinion. Is just make Willis uncomfortable. Make him make those mistakes that we saw him make here in Nashville.
Speaking of rushing the passer, and that being the key to this game, I need to see more from Arden Key, man.
Mm-hmm.
Been, I think he's played like 78% of the snaps
Yep.
on the defense total, and we have one pressure.
Mm-hmm.
One pressure. Come on, man. You
Yep.
got to do more than that. And it's not like he's contributing hugely, in the running game or dropping into coverage. He's not that kind of guy. He's a rush the passer kind of guy.
Yep.
And you're just not getting there.
Yeah, and what I've seen a little bit is he's getting penetration, but then he's getting too deep. So what he's doing is he's coming around the edge and he's just being blocked right into the backfield where he doesn't have a chance to make a play. So also important for these interior guys, for Simmons and Sweat, to keep doing what they're doing, getting that interior pressure, making him roll out, and then Arden Key just has to be more disciplined to kind of stay in his gap, because that's been the biggest thing I've noticed. Even though he's been quick. He's been in the backfield, but he's not in the right spots in the backfield. So that's the problem I've seen with his game. So maybe just kind of tighten up a little bit, see where you need to be. But yeah, he's going to be an impact player in this. I mean, Landry, he's shown that, he's back to full form. The interior has been there, at least in the run game, and a little bit of pressure. But yeah, he's got to step up. I mean, that's his side. We were kind of worried going into the season about a 6-game suspension, and now it seems like, well, we got him and he didn't get suspended. So where's the play at? So that's hurt a little bit. But yeah, he's got to find a way to get it going. And 2 games in, I think he will. A lot of these guys, some run a little bit behind others when you're getting in football shape. But with him being out there getting that many snaps, this coaching staff, they keep trusting him. So he's just got to step up, and make some plays.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. And yeah, man, Alec, it's a weird, Patriots. I don't really know that much about the Patriots, but I do know, not this season anyway, but I do know that they like our fans had high expectations for them this season, I don't know high, but lofty. They always have lofty expectations in New England, so yeah, it's not abnormal for them to jump bail, after 2 weeks. It's kind of the same thing, a lot of Titans fans are doing on Will Levis. It's only been 2 weeks, but still, when you start to add up how many opportunities you have in this schedule, 2 games can be very large.
Oh, yeah.
2 games can be the difference of 6 wins and 8 wins. That's a
Absolutely.
big difference. 8 wins and 10 wins is even a bigger difference. So I think that's what we're all worried about, really. But
yeah, and not only that, but I do think it sends a message when you've got the Carolina Panthers, benching their first overall pick, who was picked ahead of Levis. That matters. They're sending a message that they're in win now mode. They're going to do what it takes to at least have a shot this year. And I mean, I don't think we're too far from that with the Titans. I mean, this is Callahan's first year. He's got a lot to prove. He still has yet to win a game in the NFL as a head coach. So yeah, I mean, I don't think we're too far off from being in that same position of, this was supposed to be a figure it out year for Levis, and to this point, all we figured out is he can't stop making bonehead mistakes. So long way to go, but yeah, definitely not the way that Titans fans, Patriots fans. There's a lot of teams around the league that didn't start the way the fan bases hoped. So just got to keep pushing, keep trucking.
it's very true, man. I mean, I don't know. It's rough. It's rough. Yeah. It's rough. Because we put so much into it, and it's just it's not like, looking good right now.
Here we are again. Yeah. I mean, I found myself year after year at some point during the season just asking myself, how did we get here? What happened? I mean, we're so used to these strong starts and then falling off. We're so used to being hopeful and then something just crushing hope. So yeah, it's every week, it's every season, and I'm not a Debbie Downer. I still have faith in the team. I think that they're going to figure it out at least on a certain level. I think this can be a winning season, statistical wise, and momentum wise, but just a lot of things to figure out, and you find yourself asking again, how did we get here?
Yeah, that is the question I find myself asking myself all the time. So I got a question for you. If Tajay Spears isn't able to play,
Mhm.
do you think they elevate Jabari Small?
Yeah, I think they do. Just for even if they don't have a game plan installed for him, just to have that depth at that position. I mean, it just makes sense. There's nobody else. I mean, you're not going to elevate another wide receiver at this point. So I mean, because what's the point? They're not going to be able to throw the ball anyway. So what's the point? I mean, so yeah, I think he does get elevated. I don't know how much of a impact he would have on this game. I think we would most likely just see a very, very heavy dose of Tony Pollard if Spears isn't able to go. But yeah, I mean, I think they elevate him just for depth pieces, just in case something does happen. But that's the only reason I would see it.
Right on. And he's the only person, by the way, we didn't mention injury report, but he's the only person that was
Yep.
limited, other than obviously Gifford.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So that's good news. Uh,
Yeah, and then on the flip side, while we're on injuries, as far as the Green Bay, we talked about Jordan Love. My opinion, like I said, he won't play. I kind of gave my reasons for that. Just don't think that it makes sense. But then Josh Jacobs, he was a limited participant. I do expect him to go. But if there's something that's nagging him, they're already without AJ Dillon for the foreseeable future. Josh Jacobs, he's kind of their primary back. He does a little bit of everything. So even if he's a little bit dinged up, that can make a huge difference for this defense to put a stop in the run game. So that's something to watch too. Like I said, I do expect him to go, but interesting to see how he's moving to start the game.
yeah, because he's really the base of their offense. So if Josh Jacobs is a little stiff, then that would work well in our favor. Um,
And that might play a factor too in the decision with Jordan Love. If Josh Jacobs is more tore up than Jordan Love is, do you kind of want to have a more accurate passer in the game? So I don't know how much that played into it, but all these are game time decisions. And the unfortunate part of that is the Titans have to prepare both ways. They have to prepare for Love just like they have to prepare for Willis, just like they have to prepare for Jacobs. So these are all going to be game time decisions, but as of right now, I expect full go for Jacobs and more than likely Love's out, but we'll see. Crazier things have happened.
yeah, I don't expect Love to go. Like we were talking, I think we were talking pre-show about it. I don't think we've mentioned it on the show, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense against this defense. No mobility, lower leg injury. It just doesn't seem. Or wait, no, his clavicle was messed up, wasn't it?
I'd have to look back. I saw two different things, but I'll have to look back and see. But I mean, either way, you're going to be
Yeah,
facing
you still don't
a
want it.
top,
Yeah,
yeah, top defense. People who, even though they haven't had as much pressure as we hope, they still have very much the ability to get after the quarterback. And then with the lack of mobility, which is, I mean, that's a huge part of his game. It doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to
well,
me.
and the chance of re-injury is so much higher when you're not fully healed,
Yep.
or aggravating the injury into something worse.
Yep.
So yeah, for the most part, it's just smart to. Yeah, man, that's what we like.
I
Let's
love
go,
it.
Scoob. Yes. Um. So if Willis does start, which I expect him to, we have to keep him running. We got to keep him contained, which sounds funny to me to say we have to keep Malik Willis contained. But he is kind of quick, and we
Yeah.
can't let him get to the edges. We have to make him throw the ball to beat us if that's how he wants to beat us. So, I mean, that's what I meant by that. Uh, but yeah, I feel like we get in there, we might spook him and get him to make some silly mistakes.
Yeah, and I think you test him early. I think you kind of if I think the Titans need to go in this game saying if he's going to beat us, he's going to have to do it with his arm. So I put a lot of spas in. I bring the safeties down. I kind of dare him to throw it over the top. If I'm him, see if that pressure can get home early, get in his face, make him uncomfortable, and then make him beat you with his arm. We've seen him make some really, really good throws, and we've seen him make some absolutely terrible throws. So you kind of never know what you're going to get in that situation. But they're gonna have to find a way to generate turnovers. I feel like this is their best week up to this point to be able to do that. If Willis is the one starting, um, because we've seen him do it. I mean, we've seen him throw interception. We've seen him throw lob balls. I mean, he's made some of these dumb mistakes we've seen Levis make over the last few weeks. So you've got to find a way to generate turnovers. So if I'm the Titans, I'm going into this thinking I'm just going to rush him. I'm going to make him throw it. I'm going to make him put it into coverage. I'm going to make him make quick decisions. And I feel like that's how they're going to have the most success over him at quarterback.
Yeah, I totally wholeheartedly agree. Stick around. More awesome Titans content coming your way, but we do have to take a moment, a little 40-second ad for our sponsor. What's up, Titans fans? Maximus Titan fan here. Are you in need of professional excavation services? Look no further. Red Zone Builders has the expertise, experience, and equipment to handle all or any excavation project, big or small. Whether you need land clearing, site preparation, trenching, foundation excavation, or any other excavation services, they have you covered. Their team of skilled professionals will work diligently to ensure your project is completed safely, efficiently, and to your satisfaction. Trust the experts at Red Zone Builders to get the job done right. Fantastic. It's a smart guy. Anyway, told you it was quick. I did want to save this till after. I got this before, but this was the fan question actually from Los Cochinos. I hope I'm saying that right. Is it time for a quarterback change? And this is exactly my answer. I don't feel like it's time to throw him out this game. Unless he comes in the first quarter and does some really stupid crap again, then all right, yeah, maybe halftime is the time to bench him. But I really don't feel like it's time to bench Levis yet. But if unless he comes out and has a good game, he is in danger of losing his starting position for sure. And I know Link has a completely different opinion of this than I do.
Well, I mean, I have my opinion, and then I have what the coaching staff kind of what I feel like is going through their minds. And for me, I do feel like he has to the bye week. I think not pulling him last game kind of shown that, and it's gonna be a matter. Look, he's gonna make another mistake. He's gonna throw into double coverage at some point. He's probably gonna fumble at some point. The real question is can he limit those, and can the rest of his play make up for it? So I don't know. That's yet to be seen. Um, I don't have a lot of hope in the guy to do it, but I've been proven wrong before, so we'll see. I just think now if he comes out has two fumbles and an interception in the first half, yeah, you absolutely have to bench him. But if we see the same kind of thing, if he has an interception that was maybe thrown in double coverage of an underthrow, I don't think that's reason to pull him. I don't think the coaching staff will pull him. It's obviously frustrating, but I think at this point you just have to get to the bye week and reevaluate, because if you're sitting there at 0-4 going into the bye, your losses are against a first time starter and a rookie quarterback and two backups more than likely, then yeah, you've got to kind of do some soul searching at that point and figure out what's your course for the rest of the season. Are you going to bench him? Are you going to try to get his trade stock up? Are you going to go to Rudolph and try to make some kind of miracle playoff push? So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to go over at that point, but these next two games are absolutely crucial for Will
Mm-hmm.
Levis and his future in this league. I mean, I said it last week. These next two games are probably the most important games he'll play in his career, just to have a future with his team. So we'll see what happens, but I'm optimistic. I guess I'm hopeful. Hopeful's a better word. I'm hopeful, but I don't know. You just haven't shown me anything up to this point in the season to show me that you can change your ways. And you've got to have two really good showings coming up into the bye week.
Yeah, the frustrating part with Will Levis is he has such a high ceiling.
Mhm.
I mean, you see the talent, you see the arm strength, the physicality of the man. I mean, he takes on defenders like he's a linebacker. He did play linebacker in high school, but the
Mhm.
point is the dude's got it. It just the ceiling's way up here, but the floor is way down here.
Yeah,
And right now we're sleeping on the floor, and I'm not sure why. I hope that somewhere he can find some kind of a balance in the middle of that. I don't expect him to be a superstar,
right.
but like you said, limit your mistakes, make your play, make up for those eventual mistakes that you're going to make. And if he can do that, then I'll be happy. But
Yeah.
that leads me into my next question, which is how do you get Will Levis started? And I've been debating this with myself, so I'll let you answer. But how do you get Will Levis going in this game?
Yeah, I mean, we're sitting here at a conjunction because in the past it's been we'll give him some deep shots, get him going early, get some receivers down the field, and just let him sling it. But now we're sitting at a point in the season where he's sitting on 3 interceptions, 7 sacks, a 5 yard average on completion. So I mean, yeah, it's tough to say, well, you just want to air the ball out because it seems like you're setting yourself up and him up for failure at that point. So again, I think the answer is unfortunately just simple routes, screen passes, some stuff over the middle, just some quick slants. I don't know. And another thing is you've got to scheme some stuff up for DeAndre Hopkins. He's been an absolute non-issue to this point in the season. You've got to find a way to get that connection going. He was asked about that in the press conference. And he admitted, there's just some times where I'm either not seeing him or I feel like there's a better option. So, and that's unfortunate. So you have to find a way to get Hopkins involved. You have to find a way to get a little bit of consistency in his passes. But it stinks because we were sitting here last year saying just let him throw it, just let him throw it 40 yards down the field and see what happens. And now I can't trust that because there's no doubt the dude's an athlete. There's no doubt the dude's a competitor. But the real question is he an NFL quarterback? And I don't know. I don't know. So for me, it's just simple stuff to try to get him going early and then see if he can kind of keep that consistency through a full game.
Yeah. And Scoob, I agree with you. It does take time. They are young quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield does look a lot better than he did before, but Baker Mayfield's another one of those dudes, man, that is going to make those mistakes. And you just hope and pray that he doesn't make those mistakes in the postseason. Make those mistakes week 3, week 5, whatever. But by week 8, we want you to not be making those stupid mistakes. And I feel like that's the growing pain we're going through right now with Will Levis. And I hope that it doesn't take him a second team to realize that like it did Baker. Um, but
Well, and not only that, but Baker works best when the system is built around him. And I think that's why he's had so much success here recently is because they've kind of gone all in and built the team around him. But on the flip side, Will Levis, you could argue this team was already built around him. I mean, they've done everything in this offseason to try to help him. I mean, you bring in Ridley, you keep Hopkins, you get Pollard. I mean, you try to build up bolster your offensive line, which, yeah, there's still some questions, but I still think you're better than you were last year. So, you do things to try to build a team around him. You bring in the right coaches, you bring in the right staff, you bring in the right
mhm.
receivers, and we still see him fail over and over again. So yeah, I mean, yes, there's some comparison there, but again, I mean, it takes more than grit and yelling to be an NFL quarterback. And the decision making, the mistakes, it's just these are the things you absolutely cannot do. You cannot do this and be successful on a successful team. So, yeah, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that he can't clean these things up. I do think it's going to take time. Like I said, it's just going to be a matter of can he let the good outweigh the bad at this point.
Yep, yep. And that, I kind of back up and answer the question because I never really did. But mostly conventionally, I would say flip flop. I would say conventionally most of the time I say, give them the little dink dunks, screen passes, whatever. easy things for the quarterback to get in a rhythm and get comfortable. But Will Levis is like one of those dudes that loves to chuck the ball. So I don't know, man. I have a hard time with this. But I do feel like, yes, one of the main things that's going to help his passing game, our passing game, is getting DeAndre Hopkins involved again in this passing game. We got to have him as an option that teams have to guard against. Otherwise, they're just going to double team Calvin Ridley, and we're going to see what we saw last game.
Yeah, and I'm also interested to see. I'm curious how Green Bay kind of plays this one. That I do think there's going to be some good opportunities for D Hop because you've got arguably one of the best corners in the league and Jair Alexander. So who, if you're the Packers, kind of think from their perspective, are you've got to put him on Ridley, right? I mean, he's the bigger threat to this point, which is kind of crazy to think about because normally your number one corner is going to be glued to Hopkins the entire game. But going into this, I kind of expect him to stay man with Ridley a lot, which should open Hopkins up to some big plays if Levis can find him.
Absolutely. And another thing that I actually didn't make a note of, but something that is noted in my brain, stop using Treylon Burks. He's not working anywhere. I mean, that pass was a bad pass. I'm not going to argue that. It was a bad pass on Willett for double coverage. It was underthrown. But at the same time, if you touch the ball, you should catch the ball. And you should be able to fight for the ball, especially if you're like, outweighing the guy by 45 pounds. My God, dude. I'm sorry. I'd rather see NWI out there, in my opinion. I hate to say that. That's crazy, but it's true.
Yeah, I think at this point, Treylon Burks is just a big Khalif Raymond. I mean, that's what it seems like. I mean, this is how Khalif was used here. It was throw him out there in certain situations, send him down the field, give him a 50-50 ball, and see what happens. Yeah, I mean, that's literally how they're using Burks to this point. And look, I get it. I mean, physically, yes, he gives you a better percentage catch than NWI would 40, 50 yards down the field. I get that. Physically, he's your better option. It's not there right now. And I think you've got to kind of do the same thing with him as you're doing with Levis. Just get him some easy stuff. If you're going to continue to use Burks, he's the type of player that has to be in a rhythm. So, get him in space, let him run after the catch, just get him the ball early, see how he's kind of managing the ball in his hands before you start giving him shots downfield. So if you're going to use him, I feel like you've got to use him that way. You can't just randomly in the middle of the game throw him up a 50-yard pass and expect him to beat double coverage. It's not going to happen. So a little bit questionable on the call there, but yes, it was an underthrow. Yes, it could have been a little better pass, but yeah, I get what you're saying. It's not the best route, not the best player, not the best play.
Yeah, and just not in all situations that Burks does, but yeah, most of the situations that they've tried to use Burks for, like on the end around and the screen, and I'd rather see Jaquan out there, see what he can do.
I agree with that.
I'm good with that too. I mean, if you don't want to use NWI, I understand that. Maybe the defense isn't going to respect him as much as they would Jaquan. Mm-hmm. Use Jaquan. I don't give a stop using Burks. Sorry.
And hey, just like it's a figured out year for Levis, this is a figured out year for Burks. I mean, this team's, there's a lot of guy from a previous coaching staff, from a previous management that they're figuring out if they still have a spot on this team. And that's just another guy. I mean, Chig is the same exact way. I mean, these are guys from an old regime that they're trying to figure out if they're going to work in this offense that Callahan wants to ultimately run, because, he plans to be here for multiple years as his head coach. So, first year, it is a figure it out. It's a, what guys am I keeping? Are there new guys I want to bring in? So, I get it. You got to figure some things out. So I understand why he's in the game, but man, you got to win a football game. At some point, you just got to put the best 11 guys out there and win a football game.
Yeah. It's really frustrating. Another frustrating one is Tyler Boyd. Mm-hmm. I really expected Tyler Boyd to be better, but his separation is just, it's non-existent. There is no separation. He has the lowest separation of all the receivers that played last week, or the first 2 weeks, excuse me, of the seasons. He has the lowest separation in the NFL. Damn it.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, that's partially what's led to a lot of the pressure that Will Levis has faced. I mean, yeah, the offensive line is having trouble holding up, but when Tyler Boyd, who's supposed to be one of your primaries, can't get separation, and he's your first look, and you have to go to that second and third option. I mean, and then you've already got guys in your face. Yeah, that's going to add to the pressure. That's going to add to the turnovers, and it's going to add to the incompletions. So, yeah, got to find a way to be better just at the receiver position as a whole. I mean, even Ridley. I mean, yeah, he's probably the best receiver on this team as of right now, with the way everybody else is kind of getting the ball and playing. But even he hasn't been perfect. So receivers got to help the quarterback out. Offensive line, NPF has to find a way to block. That's going to be another one I'm looking at this week. NPF's going to have a challenge. He's going to have a serious challenge, and he's got to be much, much better than he was last game. You know, some crazy things going on with him this week, becoming a fantasy football expert analysis, signed a deal with somebody. I mean, not a good look in my opinion when you got a suspension for
No, it was
game
bad
betting, but
timing.
yeah, just weird, just all around weird. I feel like I'm in a strange reality TV show with this team at this point. But yeah, he's got to find a way to be better. Got to find a way to be better because he's kind of the weak spot on this offensive line now, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, man, definitely. If he was playing better, I truly feel like Dylan Radens wouldn't be as bad as he is.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole line. I mean, the whole line would pretty much look good at that point.
Yep.
But bold predictions. I'm gonna be honest with you, folks, man. My first bold prediction was that Will Levis was going to throw for like 3 touchdowns and 350 yards or something like that, and then he gave the game away. And then last week, my prediction was that Tajay Spears was going to outperform Tony Pollard, and he got hurt last week.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I really feel like doing my damn bold predictions. I don't want to hurt the team anymore. Do you have a bold prediction for us, man?
My bold prediction will be on defense. I do expect a couple sacks in this game. I expect them to get in Willis's head. He's going to be coming back to a Nashville crowd that's going to be pretty rowdy. Trying to get in his mind a little bit, and I think I don't want to say that he crumbles, but I think that we're going to see the way that the game moves a little too fast for him. And, if anything good has came out of these last 2 weeks, it is the defense. So I got a lot of faith in them. So I expect multiple sacks and I expect at least one turnover. The question is just going to be, can the offense can you end the game winning the turnover margin? Because it doesn't matter if we go get 1, 2, or 3 if the Titans give up 4, 5, or 6. So that's going to be the key to this one. But I do think the defense is going to have another good showing.
Yes. And all right, I will give you a bold prediction, but I really don't want to. Bold prediction is, first of all, no block punts on special teams at all. None of that happening. Not 4 games in a row. And I expect a nice return on special teams, at least in punt return. I think Jaquan Jackson finally breaks one.
Okay.
20, 30, 40 yards. I don't know if he'll go all the way, but I think he does. I mean, he fights so hard. If he just gets a little bit of blocking, he's going to just take off.
Yeah. For me, it's another part of, he's got to let the game slow down a little bit because he's got to stop the stop and change directions. At some point, you just got to hit a hole and go. I mean, he's faster than a lot of guys on the field. And I think as soon as he figures that out, as soon as he figures out that he can stop being cute back there because this ain't college no more, as soon as he figures that out, I think he's going to be a weapon on the special teams. So I agree with you. I'm hoping this is the week that he puts it all together.
Yeah, I would really like that. And I would like Will Levis to not have any turnovers. That would be a good bold prediction.
Do you think they score over 17 this week? I mean, we've seen 2 weeks of 17 in a row. You think they get 17
say, my prediction is 17. So it's
There you go. All right. Well, at least they're consistent in something.
yes, yes, I do feel like that is the consistent part, but I do feel like in this game, finally, for the first time this season, I feel like the Titans are going to win. I say this every week. I don't know why. I really did feel like Titans were going to win week 1 and week 2, but still, come on, man. We're going up against Malik Willis. Come on, guys. It's Malik Willis.
Yeah, yeah. And I said last week, I said it. You're gonna need more. You're gonna need at least 24 points to win that game. I stood by that. And this is one of those weeks where I want them to score over 17, but I do feel like 17 can get it done, especially if you've got Willis at quarterback. So I don't need to see a barn burner in this one. I just want to see smart football. So yeah, for me, I do think the Titans. I've got 14-10 in this one. Like I said, I think it's going to be a defensive battle. It's going to be a struggle. It's going to come down to a couple possessions. But yeah, I hate to say it, but I want to go with the Titans in this. I do. I kind of fought on it. But I don't see them letting Willis come in here and just tear them apart. That's not going to happen. Callahan's not going to let that happen. Denard Wilson's not going to let that happen. They're going to have some pressure schemed up. They're going to have some tricks in the bag. And I mean that this team's hungry. I mean they are hungry. They are competitors. They want to win as much as anybody else. And hopefully next week we're in better moods because winning does fix everything. I mean, if they go into the bye week 2-2, we're having a totally different discussion. If they find a way to come in, if they blow out the Packers, if they go in and they do work on Miami and get them a second year in a row, we're going into the bye week with a lot different feelings heading into division play in a division that's struggling. I mean, there's a lot of questions in this division. Colts are having some injury problems. You've got them, and I think what is it, week 6? So yeah, it's a whole different conversation coming out of that bye week if they can find a way to string a couple wins together.
Yeah, and I agree with you, but this is the frustrating part about Titans football is even if they do go win those next 2 games, everybody's going to say, oh, well, it's just because they had backup quarterbacks playing for them, and that might not be wrong. I mean,
might not be. Yeah. In a 17 game season, though, a win's a win. I mean, because what the Titans can say, our quarterback's not injured. I mean, look how many stupid mistakes he makes, and he's not injured. I mean, things happen in the NFL, and it's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, a win's a win. So I don't care if they're beating third stringers. If they can go out and put a couple wins together just to get some confidence, because that's the biggest thing. This team has absolutely no momentum right now. None. I mean, the defense is gassed because they feel like they're putting the work in. The quarterback's in his own head. You've got questions about him. I mean, this is a team that is struggling right now. So if they can beat anybody, I don't care if they got to go down to Miami and find some third string college team. If they can beat anybody at this point, I'm feeling good about them.
Yeah, I agree. Wins are the most important stat. It doesn't matter what the rest of the team looks like. But I never said what 12 was my prediction for Packers. 17-12.
There you
go. So yeah, folks, there you go.
Anybody specific you're watching for in this one? Offensive?
I mean, obviously, all eyes for me is on Will Levis and the offensive line. I want to make sure that the last week wasn't a fluke for the left side, and I want to make sure that, what the hell are you doing on the right side? Can you fix it? Can you fix it? And Will Levis, man, can you just have a solid, just a clean game? I don't even give a shit if you don't even have a touchdown. Just don't turn over the ball. Don't turn over the ball.
Yeah. Anybody on
defensively? Yeah, I was going to say defensively, I really would love to see Sweat come back and have a performance like he did in the first week. But Ernest, can't think of his last name right now. But anyway, the linebacker, Ernest Jones. Thank you, Jones. Anyway, Ernest Jones, I feel like he's going to have a big game running behind Jeffrey Simmons. We saw the pairing and the way it worked to beautiful So I feel like that's going to be a player to watch out for all season as he gets more comfortable with Denard Wilson's defense.
Yeah, I like that. On offense, for me, kind of random, but I want to see him get the tight ends involved in this one. I want to see Wiley come out, get some of his confidence back. I think Chig could be big in
As
this one.
long as it's
So
not a tight end screen, I don't care.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I want to see them in the actual downfield passing game because I mean they're going to be focused. They're going to be focused on the receivers. Obviously, Ridley's going to be a threat. They're going to try to keep Hopkins out of this game. With Boyd having trouble with separation, your next best option are your tight ends. So I want to see some heavy tight end sets. I think Chig can have a big game. I think Wiley can have a big game, and it just gives Levis another option because he needs all the options he can get at this point. And then on defense for me, I'm actually I'm watching the secondary. I'm not too worried about the line. I think they hold up. I think that's kind of a given going into this one. I'm watching for Snead. If you can fool Willis in your coverages, if you can show him some things he hasn't seen before, if you can kind of show him some fakes, read his eyes downfield, that's going to be the biggest thing for me. I do think they find a way or at least have an opportunity to get some interceptions like I talked about before. And I think those will come Snead's way. I think he's going to have the best opportunity. So, getting his head a little bit, read his eyes, and I think he can make some plays. So those are my two to watch.
I will say, for me, if there was somebody in the secondary, I would say to watch, it's Quandre Diggs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what he does. He's kind of like a little Kevin Byard. Loves to intercept the ball, and he's real savvy. He's 32. He's been around, and I feel like, yeah, you can just sit down, kind of get lost in coverage, and then.
Yeah, expect a lot of zone in this one. I know we've seen some press. We were kind of excited about that. I think this kind of looks like an old style Titans defense, and that's not a bad thing in this game. I mean, you play to your strengths, you play to their weaknesses. So I think you see a lot of zone in this one. They're going to make Willis think. They're going to try to make him take some time in the pocket and let the pressure get home. So a lot of zone in this one, a lot of fakes, a lot of blitz schemes. I'm not too worried about the defense going into this one. I think they find a way to get it done. Like I said, it's just, can the offense keep up? Can the offense just not make stupid mistakes? Can you find a way to get on the board? Can you find a way to get the run game going early? Because if you can get the run game going early, then we're having a different conversation. That's when you want to take your shots downfield.
That is something I did want to speak briefly on. Is Tony Pollard has thoroughly impressed me this season.
Oh, yeah.
With the way he runs, the power in his run, and the quickness. I guess I underestimated you, bro, and I'm sorry. Because you're looking good for me.
Yep. Yeah.
But all right, man. What's up?
No, that's good. I was just going to say, in a week where Spears may or may not be in this game and may be limited at a minimum, Pollard's going to he's going to be your workhorse. He's going to have to get it going early, and that's where you're going to find your success. So I expect a lot of stuff up the middle. Just that offensive line's got to be able to hold up, just like we talked about.
Right on, man. Well, I think we have reached the point of no return. So if you've enjoyed tonight's show, which I hope you did, if you didn't though, if you did though, check out our YouTube channel, go subscribe, like, hit the bell notifications so you won't miss any of this awesome free Titans content that you get from Titans Global Podcast. And again, if you want to follow us just on social media, we're everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. And I'm on Facebook and Twitter as Maximus Titan Fan, Link Rogers, Facebook and Twitter. Any final comments for the people out there?
Not excited for it. Like I said, it's good to reset and just remember, winning fixes everything. So hopefully we're back in here next week. And don't forget, tune in with us. We're going to be live after the game, give some emotional reactions, some initial thoughts. So make sure to tune in, and hopefully we're having a much conversation in these next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll be a lot more excited come Sunday for our first live reaction show. By the way, the only way you can see that is on our YouTube channel. So get there. There's also other exclusive content that you only get from YouTube. So thank you. Good night. And until next time, tighten up. Peace out.